7 questions you should ask yourself every morning. Good morning, everyone. As we begin this day, let us take a moment to reflect on the immense power we hold within ourselves. Every morning is a new opportunity, a fresh canvas where we can shape our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately our lives. Today I invite you on a journey of self-discovery, where we will explore 7 profound questions that have the potential to guide us toward a life of clarity, purpose, and peace. These questions will help us not only navigate the challenges of our day, but also elevate our spirit and strengthen our inner resolve. Stay with me as we uncover the key to living a purposeful and empowered life. Number: what is within my control today? Each morning, when we open our eyes, we are presented with a new day. A day that may bring joy, hardship, or a mixture of both. But before the world rushes in, we must first ask ourselves one essential question. What is within my control today? This question is vital, for it helps us align our thoughts and actions with what we truly have power over. There are many things in life that we cannot control. We cannot control the weather, the actions of others, or even the world's events. We cannot prevent the unexpected from happening. A sudden storm, an unkind word, or an unforeseen tragedy can shift the course of our day in an instant. However, the one thing that remains squarely within our grasp is our response to these events. What we can control is our attitude, our thoughts, and our actions. When faced with a challenge, we can choose how to react. We may not be able to prevent a difficult situation from arising, but we can control how we respond to it. We can choose calmness over anger, understanding over judgment, and patience over frustration. I will tell you a story of the farmer and the storm. There was once a farmer who tended his crops with great care. One season, a fierce storm approached, and many of his neighbors feared it would destroy their harvest. The farmer, however, remained calm. He had learned that the weather was beyond his control, but his actions were not. He made sure his crops were as well prepared as possible, ensuring they could weather whatever came. When the storm passed, many of his neighbors' fields were damaged, but his crops had endured. He did not waste energy worrying about things he couldn't change. Instead, he focused on what he could control: his preparation and his response to the storm. The farmer's wisdom lies in his recognition that we must focus on what we can influence: ourselves. Our choices, attitudes, and reactions define how we experience life, regardless of the external circumstances. Every day offers a chance to practice this discipline, to turn inward and cultivate mastery over our own mind and actions. Today, ask yourself, what is within my control? Then act accordingly. This question is not just about setting a course for the day. It is a practice in living with intentionality and wisdom, shaping each moment through the only power we truly possess: our response. Number 2, what is the purpose of my day? Each day, as the sun rises, we are granted a fresh opportunity to live with intention. But before we dive into the busy rhythm of life, it's crucial to pause and ask ourselves, what is the purpose of my day? This question serves as a compass, guiding us through the countless decisions we will make and the paths we will choose. Without a clear sense of purpose, the day can slip by unnoticed, lost in distractions and trivial pursuits. Purpose gives direction to our actions. It's not merely about filling the hours with tasks, but about infusing those hours with meaning. Whether it's performing our work, nurturing relationships, or pursuing personal growth, every action can be connected to a greater purpose that reflects our values and aspirations. Without purpose, even the most routine tasks can feel empty, and life can easily become a series of obligations rather than an opportunity for fulfillment. I will tell you a story of the stonecutter. A stonecutter, weary from his labor, was asked by a traveler what he was doing. "I am cutting this stone," he said, his voice tired. The traveler, seeing the monotony in his work, asked again, "But why?" The stonecutter paused and then replied, "I cut this stone to build a temple." The traveler then asked, "And why do you build this temple?" The stonecutter smiled and answered, "I build this temple so that the people of my town may have a place to worship and find peace." The traveler, impressed, nodded and moved on. The stonecutter had found purpose in his work, not merely by the task itself, but in its larger impact on the community. The stonecutter's shift in perspective reveals an essential truth. Purpose transforms even the most mundane actions into meaningful endeavors. When we align our daily activities with a greater purpose, whether it's to contribute to others, grow as individuals, or uphold values we hold dear, we begin to experience fulfillment. Each moment becomes an opportunity to contribute to something larger than ourselves. Today, ask yourself, what is the purpose of my day? By answering this question, you create clarity. You ensure that your actions are not scattered, but rather focused and meaningful, guided by a clear sense of direction and intention. Number 3. What obstacles might I face, and how will I respond? As we begin a new day, it is inevitable that we will encounter obstacles, challenges, or unexpected setbacks. These obstacles may come in the form of external circumstances, such as a sudden storm, an unexpected problem at work, or a disagreement with a friend. They may also appear internally, as feelings of frustration, doubt, or impatience. The key to navigating these obstacles, however, lies not in avoiding them, but in preparing ourselves to face them with resilience and clarity. When we ask ourselves, what obstacles might I face and how will I respond? We acknowledge a simple truth. Challenges are a part of life, and our response to them is within our control. Instead of waiting for life to unfold and reacting to difficulties as they arise, we can anticipate the challenges we may encounter and mentally prepare ourselves for how to approach them. I will tell you a story of the warrior and the river. A wise warrior once traveled across a vast, dry desert, seeking a river that would quench his thirst. When he finally found it, he was ready to cross, but he encountered a powerful current. The warrior tried to swim across, but the current was too strong, pushing him back every time. After several failed attempts, the warrior sat by the river, contemplating his struggle. An old man approached him and asked, "Why do you struggle so fiercely against the current?" The warrior replied, "I must cross, but the river keeps pushing me back." The old man smiled and said, "You cannot change the river, but you can change how you approach it." With this advice, the warrior waited patiently for the river's natural rhythm, then used the current to guide him across. He did not force his way through the obstacle, but instead adapted to it. The warrior's experience teaches us an important lesson. Obstacles are not always to be fought directly. Sometimes the best way to handle a challenge is to approach it with patience, flexibility, and strategy. By anticipating potential obstacles, we can prepare ourselves mentally to face them with calmness, creativity, and strength. The way we respond to difficulties, whether with determination, acceptance, or a shift in perspective, determines the outcome. Today, ask yourself, what obstacles might I face, and how will I respond? This question helps us cultivate a mindset of readiness, knowing that challenges are opportunities for growth and learning, not roadblocks to our progress. Number 4, how can I cultivate virtue today? Every day we have the opportunity to act with virtue, to refine our character and make choices that reflect our highest values. But how often do we consciously choose to cultivate virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation? The question, how can I cultivate virtue today, challenges us to align our actions with these timeless principles and to live a life that not only serves our own well-being, but also contributes positively to the world around us. Virtue is not something we simply inherit. It is something we actively develop through our choices, actions, and reflections. Each day presents us with numerous situations where we can choose to act virtuously. Whether it is taking the high road in a difficult conversation, showing kindness to a stranger, or exercising self-discipline in the face of temptation, virtue is a practice, not a destination. I will tell you a story of the young man and the elder. A young man once approached a wise elder, asking, "How can I become virtuous? How can I live a life of wisdom, courage, and justice?" The elder, in response, gave the young man a simple task. He asked him to go into the marketplace and buy a loaf of bread. Upon returning, the elder asked, "What did you notice on your journey?" The young man replied, "I saw many people. Some of them were busy working, others were arguing, and others were laughing. But I also noticed a beggar sitting by the road, hungry and tired." The elder smiled and asked, "And what did you do?" The young man, somewhat ashamed, replied, "I passed him by, as I had to fulfill your task." The elder nodded gently and said, "The journey was not just to buy bread, but to see the opportunity to act with compassion, to show justice to those in need." Virtue is not found only in grand actions, but in the small, everyday moments when we choose what is right over what is easy. The story of the young man teaches us an essential truth. Virtue is not an abstract ideal. It is in the small, often unnoticed decisions we make every day. It is in the way we treat others, how we carry ourselves, and how we handle the challenges life presents. Cultivating virtue requires mindfulness and intention, the ability to recognize when we have the opportunity to act with wisdom, courage, or kindness. Today, ask yourself, how can I cultivate virtue today? In every action, no matter how small, there lies the chance to grow in character and live in alignment with what is good. Number 5. What am I grateful for today? Gratitude is a powerful force that shapes our outlook on life. Each morning, as we open our eyes to a new day, we have the opportunity to cultivate gratitude by acknowledging the blessings, big and small, that we often take for granted. The question, "What am I grateful for today?" invites us to pause and reflect on the gifts that life has provided, helping us shift our focus from what is lacking to what is abundant in our lives. When we practice gratitude, we acknowledge that our lives are filled with moments, people, and circumstances that are worthy of appreciation. This shift in perspective doesn't just make us feel good in the moment, it also helps us maintain a sense of calm and resilience when things aren't going well. Gratitude is a reminder that, even in times of struggle or hardship, there is always something to be thankful for. I will tell you a story of the two travelers. Two men set out on a journey through a dense forest. One of the men, a pessimist, constantly grumbled about the difficulty of the path, the heat of the sun, and the pain in his feet. The other man, an optimist, looked around and marveled at the beauty of the trees, the fresh air, and the peaceful sound of the birds. As they walked, they encountered a small stream, and while the pessimist saw it as an obstacle that slowed their progress, the optimist saw it as an opportunity to rest and drink. Eventually, the pessimist grew weary and complained more, while the optimist continued to find reasons to be thankful for the journey. The pessimist, feeling burdened by negativity, was exhausted and discouraged by the end of the day, while the optimist, fueled by gratitude, felt refreshed and at peace. The story teaches us a simple yet profound lesson. The way we choose to perceive our experiences determines how we navigate them. Gratitude doesn't ignore the challenges or hardships we face. It simply invites us to look beyond them and recognize the gifts in our lives. Whether it's the people who love us, the work that sustains us, or the very act of breathing and being alive, there is always something to be thankful for. Today, ask yourself, what am I grateful for today? By acknowledging your blessings, you create a foundation of contentment that will carry you through the day, even when faced with difficulty. Gratitude allows us to approach life with a lighter heart and a more resilient spirit. Number 6. What is the one thing I must focus on today? As we wake up each morning, we are often faced with a multitude of tasks, responsibilities, and distractions. It's easy to become overwhelmed by the sheer number of things that demand our attention. Yet, there is one simple question that can bring clarity and direction to our day. What is the one thing I must focus on today? By identifying and prioritizing that one essential task, we can avoid scattering our energy and instead direct it toward what truly matters. In life, we are often pulled in many directions, with urgent tasks or distractions that appear pressing. But the key to living with purpose and effectiveness is the ability to discern the most important action in any given moment. What can I do today that will have the greatest impact on my long-term goals or my well-being? What task, once completed, will bring the most benefit to my life, my work, or my relationships? I will tell you a story of the artist and the sculptor. A young artist once came to a famous sculptor, eager to learn the secret of creating masterpieces. The sculptor handed the young man a chisel and asked him to carve a statue from a block of marble. The artist eagerly began to work, chipping away at the marble. But after several hours he stepped back, frustrated. The marble still looked incomplete, and he was unsure of what to focus on next. The sculptor, noticing the artist's struggle, approached him and said, "When you work on a sculpture, it's important to focus on the most important detail first. Do not waste time carving the small parts until you have the larger shape. What is the essence of this sculpture? Focus on bringing that out." The young artist paused, took a deep breath, and shifted his focus to the overall form, shaping the figure more deliberately and with greater clarity. Slowly but surely, the statue began to take shape. The sculptor's wisdom lies in the recognition that we must focus our energy on the most important aspect of the task at hand. Without that focus, we risk wasting time and effort on things that don't move us forward. Today, ask yourself, what is the one thing I must focus on today? By identifying your top priority, you direct your energy with purpose, ensuring that your actions are aligned with your deepest values and goals. It is through this focused effort that we achieve meaningful progress in life. Number 7. How can I accept the inevitable with grace? Life is full of uncertainty, and there are moments when things simply don't go as planned. Whether it's an unexpected setback, an unavoidable change, or a challenge beyond our control, we all encounter situations that we cannot alter. The question, how can I accept the inevitable with grace, invites us to reflect on our capacity to embrace what cannot be changed and respond to it with calmness and dignity. The key to acceptance is recognizing that there are forces in the world beyond our control. We cannot change the weather, reverse a decision made by others, or stop the passage of time. And yet, how often do we find ourselves resisting these realities, feeling frustrated or upset when life doesn't go our way? This resistance only leads to unnecessary suffering. Acceptance, on the other hand, does not mean passivity or resignation. It means acknowledging the situation as it is and choosing to respond in a way that preserves our inner peace. I will tell you a story of the farmer and the lost horse. A farmer once had a prized horse which ran away one evening. The neighbors came to him the next morning and said, "What bad luck! Your horse has run away." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it several wild horses. The neighbors said, "What good luck! "Your horse has come back, and with it more horses." The farmer again replied, "Maybe." Later, the farmer's son tried to tame one of the wild horses, but was thrown off and broke his leg. The neighbors again expressed their sympathy, saying, "What bad luck, your son has been injured." The farmer calmly replied, "Maybe." Sometime later, soldiers came through the village, conscripting young men to fight in a war. Because the farmer's son had a broken leg, he was spared from going to battle. The neighbors, seeing the turn of events, said, "What good luck that your son was spared." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." The farmer's response teaches us the power of acceptance. He did not cling to joy or sorrow when events unfolded, knowing that the true meaning of any circumstance might only become clear with time. Instead, he accepted what came, without judgment or resistance. Today, ask yourself, how can I accept the inevitable with grace? By approaching life with a spirit of acceptance, we find that we can navigate challenges with greater ease and maintain our peace, even in the face of the uncontrollable. Acceptance doesn't make the difficult situations go away, but it does help us face them with a calm and steady heart. Each morning offers us a fresh opportunity to shape our lives with intention, wisdom, and resilience, by asking ourselves key questions. What is within my control? What is my purpose? How will I respond to obstacles? How can I cultivate virtue? What am I grateful for? What should I focus on? And how can I accept the inevitable? We set ourselves on a path toward greater clarity, peace, and fulfillment. May we carry these reflections with us today and every day. Good luck as you face each challenge with grace and purpose. Thank you for your time, and may your journey be filled with wisdom and growth.